Hey, beautiful shining stars. Welcome to week 3 of scripting your lifestyle into existence. So, this week we've been working on our I wills and I ams. Now, I gave you an exercise so you could go on your little nature walk, and I want to do a live Zoom together so we could talk about the experience, you know, what you felt, what happened afterwards. I posted so you guys could add on our site so you could add your timelines and time frames for this. I also just filled my IAMs and I want to share with you guys something that I do now in my IAMs. So let me just flip it. So something that I do in my IAMs is I add my new beliefs. Now, in the beginning, when we're creating our new beliefs, it feels very far-fetched, right? And another thing that I notice is sometimes when we're writing our affirmations, and this happens to me a lot, and I hear this from you all also, is that you're doing affirmations, you're doing your meditations, and then you feel like things are not happening. You feel like, why am I doing this? You don't feel anything, because sometimes you're in that plateau energy, or you're going through stuff because, we have situation experiences and circumstances, right? So we're going through stuff and we're like, well, why am I doing all these affirmations? I don't feel like it makes a difference. Why am I doing all this work? Nothing's really happening. So I want to share with you something really, really important. Sometimes it feels that way, but know that always things are moving behind the scenes. Now, as living in the 3D world, we don't see what's going on in the spiritual realm. So, what you have to pay attention to are confirmations and signs, and just little synchronized energies of maybe somebody telling you something, or you always get some kind of, okay, that's a sign. I feel like this is, God source, the co-creator, your higher self trying to share with you that something's happening, that you're not alone in this. So of course, I'm working on the language of money class, so a lot of my affirmations have to do with growing my spiritual business. And I wrote, I am an extremely wealthy woman. Money flows to me like the current of the sea. Just like the ocean's waters rise, so does my cash flow. My money flows each and every week. I love that I am 10 times richer than I was last week. My prosperity simply flows to me easily and effortlessly, just like the flow of the natural waters. So does my gold, my prosperity, my lands. I am extremely wealthy. I am extremely rich. I'm extremely wealthy. And I go on. I I am a lavish, luxurious woman living her dream life. I love that I get to stay at the best resorts in my favorite vacation spots. I love that I have stayed at Old Key West, the Yacht and Beach Club, the French Quarter, the Animal Kingdom Lodge. I love that I have booked a whole vacation for Dapper Day weekend for me and my girls. And I wrote the name of my girls. I love my life. Everything now flows to me. Everything I have asked for has simply entered my life. I have been synchronized with all the events, people, situation, experiences to have all my wishes fulfilled, fully fulfilled in my now radiant moment. I am very lucky. I am so favored. I'm so blessed. Wow, I love my life. Thank you. Thank you for all I have because I want it and I just have it. And that's just how it is for me. So, you want to go into like almost like a rant where you're sharing your I ams, but you're also adding your beliefs. And like I said, sometimes you're like, when you hit that plateau energy, you're just like, oh, nothing's really happening. I'm stuck, because that little voice is always going to tell you stuff. But know that things are happening. Know that your thoughts, your co creation, your written word is very powerful. And this shifts your energy. Um, so when I go into that feeling, so when I go into that energy of less than, like I'm not manifesting, things are not happening, what's going on, I will do like some candle magic, I will do some meditations. I do stuff to kind of take me out of that rut energy and that stuck energy. Especially that we always got things in life that make us feel whatever the fudge, right? Like, for example, with me right now is my mother-in-law. It's a very, very rough situation, and it gets in my work, it gets in my creation. It's just like it's hardcore, and and then you're like, well, I have to deal with this. How do I deal with this? So I go into rants and I connect with spirits. I was like, well, how do I deal with this? How do I fix this? How do I do this? And it's all about paying attention to what spirit shares with you, like delegating someone to take care of her, delegating um a way for me to be able to sit down and do and create. And then also giving myself the time to, like, if I don't feel good, to say it's okay, not overbearing myself. Like, this past week, my webpage, I had to put it down in order to add new stuff to. I don't know if it was because the new year or whatever, but I had to do that. So a lot of the I got a lot of emails, from everybody freaking out because it had been a couple days and my webpage was down. So it's giving yourself the permission to be like, okay, I'm not perfect. Everything is not always going to be, in alignment. Everything is not always going to flow. There's going to be days. And before, I used to overwhelm myself and freak out. And now instead, I just allow. I just simply allow. I can't do anything more than what I could do, right? So why beat myself up? So you have to do that for yourself. You are, I always say you have to take care of yourself first, and then you could take care of everybody else. Um, I don't know where I was writing that sometimes we need to give our reins to someone else when we need rest. We can't always be the captain, we can't always be steering. We always need time of rest. And sometimes things happen and it's because you need to step back and you need to rest. I wanted to really, really wanted to start the language of money class during the full moon of January. And Spirit's like, Daisy, you might start the class in the new moon of February, which would be great because it's also the year of the dragon, which is all about fortune and wealth and prosperity. So, sometimes things happen for a reason. So I had to, push my scripting class a little bit to create the 6 weeks. And, now I have to go a week over because the third week was a little late. So when things like this happen, and I'm sharing with you from my experience of what I'm working on, but look at your life and your experience and when you're working on. And this could be a soulmate relationship that maybe hasn't manifested. It could be a job promotion that maybe hasn't came through. It's just like a lot of things. I just had a client that I did a reading for, I think like 2 or 3 days ago, and we were on the phone. She was doing a major rant with me, and at the end of the reading, because she's the type of person that she will ask the same question in like 20 million different ways to see if spirit will give her like a different answer or more details or whatever. And I noticed that it only happens with her, and it's because of that, because she tries to trick spirit into asking the same question in different forms. So what spirit does, it almost like it just throws cards. It just like randomly throws cards. It's and none of the cards match. It doesn't. None of the cards make sense. And then I had to tell her, listen, spirit is, you go in there, spirits is not engaged, is not answering, and you're just gonna have to take what you received and allow the time, because one of the major things is sometimes spirit will talk about flow, share about flow and whatever. So with that being with that being said, oh yeah, you can see me now. With that being said, sometimes we have to just allow, sometimes you're doing the work and you don't see the results right away. And as humans living in a very 3D polarized world, we want to see everything right now. We want to have, especially when we've been waiting, like for example, I've been on my spiritual journey for decades. I started my spiritual business in like 2010. Like, it's been a few years, you know, and it's like either, you could see, you're like, oh, you could look at the cup as half empty, or you could see it as half full. You own the decision, you own the vision to decide how you want to see it, you know? Because, like, I was listening to Sarah Cannon, I think it was like a couple of days ago, and she was saying, I really want to take my career to the seven figures, kind of sort of where I'm at. It's like I want to take it to the next level. And she's like, I see all these other authors achieving their seven figures, and I'm just like, why am I not there? What am I doing? I do so well, I have such a grand following. What am I doing wrong? Why aren't my books, selling the way they should be selling? Why is, my work not, receiving the adequate response that I would like? And she was sharing, it's like, well, what I have to do is sit down and revamp. Sometimes we have to sit down and revamp. And I find it's all in our declaration. I find that when I declare and I share my truth, because I have this issue that I connect to personally with my clients and with people in general, right? I tend to sometimes get too close, and as being somebody very sensitive, sometimes I get so close that I attach to their vibrations and their energies. And if I'm attaching, if we're attaching to what we do not want, right, then we can't grow, right? So I find that when you share your story being I'm married, I'm wealthy, I'm healthy, whatever it is that you are manifesting through your scripting, because we're creating a lifestyle where it's not just one thing. Yeah, you might really, really want this, but you are creating a lifestyle, you know? And I find that when I sit back and I look at my lifestyle and I see I've stayed at Young Beach Club. I've stayed at Animal Kingdom Lodge. I vacation anytime I want it. I've always wanted to live that Disney lifestyle. This is something I've been wanting since my early 20s, and I didn't do it earlier because I allowed other people to steer my ship. I allowed other people to talk me out of moving to where I want to live. And now I see my life, I see where I live. And, when I really, really look at everything I have, I'm just like, I am living my dream life. So instead of being ungrateful, because sometimes we have through those moments that we're ungrateful, like Sarah Cannon says, I'm at the 6 figure marks. Now I just need to take it to the next. So I need to stay in gratitude, and I am doing what I want to do. I am living the way I want to live. you know I am living the lifestyle. She looks at her home. She's like, her home is a beautiful 2-story home that she bought. Beautiful house with all the bells and whistles. It's just like, you have to look at your achievements and recognize and remember that you once wanted what you have right now, you know and then progress from there. So then you tell your story. That's why at the end I wrote, thank you for all I have, because I want it and I have it, and that's just how it is for me. And that's just, so then, these are affirmations that then I go through the day and I'm just constantly ranting that, I want this and I just have it because that's just the way it is. That's how it happens for me. I'm super blessed, you know so scripting, we write because I teach you through the workbooks. But, like, in the closing of week 3 going into week 4, I'm going to share with you 3 ways to work on your intentions and your desires. And I'm going to share with you the crazy person that I absolutely love when she shared that. And I was like, I'm going to share this with you guys, but add my scripting to it, so you guys could tap into that energy, because it is all about the ritual and the effort that you put into co-creating the lifestyle that you dream of. I'm going to tell you something super crazy. Let me show it to you. So this is a special journal that my daughter got for me, and I sometimes use this journal as in just sharing my thoughts. I'll go into a rant, and here is like, I shared my walk on New Year's and stuff like that. And then right after, here I was upset at my husband, and the whole thing with his mom, and it was just really really taking a toll on me. I mean, you can see nurse like shit, treats the nurse like shit. So I'm like venting hardcore on what I was going through. I was really really going through it. Look at the date. It's literally New Year's. And I was like, I can't allow all of this to stay inside of me. And some of the stuff that I said was really hardcore. And I'm ranting about my husband and what he's not doing. And I'm just like, really, I mean, like pages. Let me see. Pages of my rant. Sorry. I'm going to just share with you so you get a little bit of how sometimes I feel. Today, after cooking a meal number, God knows what, while in the kitchen, the old lady keeps staring at me. She's so it's like I'm a stranger in my own home. My sacred space feels alien. Sometimes I'm trying to work and she is interrupting me. I'm exhausted from this chaos. I'm afraid of change, and I guess since we have been together for so long and since I was a child, because I talk about, marriage and whatever. I mean, I was to the point that I was like, I'm getting the fuck out. I'm not staying here. I'm not doing this. Um, and then I go into all the things that I could be having. I haven't even began to live. I wrote what? Okay, so I was like, what was I thinking? I haven't even begun to live, because I'm super young still. I have the next chapter of my life. And then I go into, I can see having my dream beach home, being extremely successful. And then I talk about my husband being negative and his energy, you know. I talk about all the things why I feel he's negative. Talk about sometimes how in Fridays for the rent, said he cannot say anything positive. It's like very rare. I told him about buying sheets for months. It's true, because I had told him about buying sheets for months for the bed, and he didn't buy them. He waited for the sheets, because the thing is, we have like different sheets. So he's like super annoying. Like, we have different sheets for the bed, but he likes a specific sheet. He's like very OCD about certain things. I don't know, divine masculine, crazy, whatever the fuck. So I said, we need to get other sheets. I can't keep rewashing these and putting them on. Can we like order more? Thing is that our sheets are expensive. They're like over $200. It's not like, go buy $30 sheets. So long story short, the sheets rip. And he takes them, and this was like the icing on the cake. I share stuff with you that's very personal, and the reason I share with you is because I want you to know that we all have problems, we all have issues, we all go through certain things. But then I want to share with you what happened, because I wrote all this. So he grabbed the sheets and he flipped them, but when he flipped them, they ended up on my feet. And yes, I'm super short, but I still, from getting on and off, it got worse. Long story short, I didn't say anything. I grabbed the sheets and I took them off, and I left him with his sides, and I put other sheets on my side. And I didn't say anything. All I did was vent, because I was very, very upset, and I vented and I shared all that. And then I went into the positive, like, I called this mother dementor. Afterwards, after all of this venting, and I closed it there, I went into the meditation. I did a sea salt bath. I did Palo Santo in my house. I cleared a bunch of the altars. So what I did was I also created like a vortex in my home, which is something I used to do when I used to live in my mom's house, because my brother was very negative. So I created like a vortex so that energy doesn't come. And I know, and when you do stuff like that, you'll start to notice that certain people don't come into your house. And sometimes they can't even pass a certain mark of, like, if they live in your house, they can't pass a certain mark, because their energy is at one level, and it doesn't allow them to come into this part. Like they feel sometimes almost like a barrier. It's like crazy. Long story short, my husband bought sheets. He's been really nice. He bought flowers. I didn't tell him anything. I did not say a word. He booked a resort stay. He's been super romantic, like very sweet, very, like, and it's like so crazy, because like you would think Like if it wasn't that I know that I keep my journal in a certain place, I would think that he read all this and saw how I felt. And he's constantly like, "Oh, thank you for doing this. You know, you don't have to do this." And just like very like I'm freaking out. So the point is that do not hold anything inside. Do not hold it. If today you woke up and you feel like absolute crap, you want to release that. You want to vent. You want to write everything you feel, no matter how harsh it sounds, bad words and all. Write it all. Let it go. Purge it out. And then allow it. And if you have to sleep it off, if you have to chocolate it out, I bake some brownies. Sometimes drink me some margaritas. It's just like sometimes you have to just go through it, release. If you don't want to hold that in, if it's your husband, your partner, if it's a coworker, if it's a boss, if it's your parents or siblings, do not hold anything in. Do not. Because when you're holding all of that in, that stress, that damages you from within. That causes this suffocating feeling and pain and anguish. This is why I do those venting, you know, you know, phone calls, because I have clients that'll call me and we take this 45 minutes, sometimes we go over the hour mark, but it's a great way for them to like vent and share and go through the different stages, and then we talk with spirit, so then you come out feeling very relieved. Sometimes my clients will scream. I had a client one time that he was, I can't do this, I don't deserve this. Like he went through a really bad, this is why I charge so much for those venting, because it also takes a toll on me, and this is why I don't do a lot of them. But always find a way of releasing. Do not hold any grudge, any negative emotions, any negative feelings, thoughts, because that stops you from manifesting. And I find every time that I do this, from my business to my marriage to whatever, anything and everything I go through, when I do those venting sessions that I just pour my heart out and I just write and write and write and write, and sometimes I sob and I cry and I just totally melt, I notice sometimes it's instantly, sometimes it'll take a couple of days, but the energy shifts, because what you have done is that you have made room for new things to come in. You have cleared the path for new things to come in. So if I just let go of all that, I cast that all out of my body, of my system, and then I'm working on my affirmations, working on my intention, because I'm affirming I have a beautiful relationship and I do this, and I have this luxurious lifestyle and all that, then these things start to enter your life. So take your time, take your time with yourself, take your time with everything, because it gets overwhelming. It gets very overwhelming. It's when people tell you that it's easy and you could have this, and if it was so easy, we would all be doing it, right? So I want you, the point of my work is to share with you guys that we all go through stuff, all of us. You know, I updated in my manifesting, you know, website. One of the things that I updated was, you're not gonna see me, sharing all of these. I'll do pictures here and there of Disney and stuff like that, but you're not gonna see, oh, look at my life is so beautiful, so grand, blah, blah. And I get it that that's such a attractor, because people want what they cannot have. But I feel like, I don't know, for me, and I could be wrong, and maybe I'm talking crap, and then tomorrow I'll do this because my, manager or assistant or whatever tells me this is what to do, because this is how you're going to bring in more cash, right? Um, but for now, for that, for me, it doesn't feel authentic, because I don't know. It's just like I've never been that type of person. And I do take pictures and I do post them and I do, but again, it's because I have to. You have to take pictures, you have to do stuff. Not only that, is also to feel good. When we did the lifestyle and we did the pictures, of our spiritual selves and our healthy self, we do that because we want a happy picture. And I ask you guys, when I'm doing work for you, can you send me a happy picture? It's really, really important when I'm doing scripting over you. Do what feels good for you. Write your story, rant your story. So even if you don't believe it, by ranting it and repeating it over and over and over, this is why this is 6 weeks, because it's 6 weeks of you doing the work and shifting. And I'm already, I've seen such crazy stuff. It's crazy stuff. I have 2 collaborations that I'm doing in January. I have a new journal that's being worked on. It's like insane stuff that is happening. And it's like I had a client that offered me a few $1,000s to work with me for a couple of months. It's just like the stuff that opens up for you is majestic. Even if you don't see them, it is all happening behind the scenes. And then just one morning you wake up to like grand news, to your, proposals, to your promotions, to your new home, to that lifestyle, to your business, going viral, whatever it is. Beautiful, you are. Namaste.